podcast made by basketball fans for basketball fans. From the hottest takes, news, analysis, and passion for the sport that we all love, this is the Fast Break Pod with Finn James and Will Tremaine.
Welcome into the Fast Break Podcast, the podcast made by basketball fans.
For basketball fans.
Finn James.
Will Tremaine.
Back with another episode. Will, you've returned from Sydney.
Back in the office.
How was your trip?
It was great, bro. Great 4 days away watching the UFC, but glad to be back in studio, back to work, talking basketball.
Yeah. What was your favourite part of the trip? Other than the UFC.
Other than the UFC, probably just like going to all the different beaches in Sydney. Bondi, Manly, Coogee Beach. Yeah, they got some nice beaches over there and great sand, great waves.
Great sand?
Great sand.
Great sand?
Great waves.
Great what? Was the weather good?
The first couple of days was good.
Yeah.
Second couple was a little bit iffy, chances of thunderstorms, but great trip. Glad to have got out of New Zealand.
It was hot though, wasn't it?
It was hot. It was very hot. Like, I can't deal with the heat. Even this New Zealand summer's a bit much for me. I just start sweating as soon as I stand outside.
Well, makes two of us.
Yeah, exactly.
Bit of world news before we kick into the basketball. What's been catching your eye over the past, 48 hours?
It'd have to be the Super Rugby.
Yeah.
I mean, just got underway. First round. Crusaders got a big win.
Woohoo! Let's go!
Obviously, Finn from Christchurch originally. So, are you a Crusaders fan?
I am indeed a Crusaders
fan. Okay. Big win. They needed that. They obviously greatest team in Super Rugby history, and they somehow missed the playoffs last year.
Mate, I'll tell you why. The team wasn't that bad. New coach, no Razor. Richie Mwanga was away as well. I think. Yeah. Wait, no, he might have been there last year. Actually, I can't remember.
No, he was gone last year.
He was gone.
All Blacks coach.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, he was in Japan. They were just bad. Not much else to it, but a few good games over the weekend so far, though. I mean, it's all wrapped up. They've only played Friday and Saturday, but Crusaders got a win over the Hurricanes, which was awesome. Yep. The Blues, grand final rematch against Chiefs at Eden Park, they went down.
Yeah, I was surprised by that one.
Yeah.
Chiefs might be on a title revenge run against the Blues. Who knows?
They got a good team. D-Mac had a crazy game.
D-Mac, I think anyone who took him in fantasy, they're happy right now.
Yeah, speaking of...
Probably gone like 1 or something. Didn't he? In most teams' fantasy?
Yeah, I think he... Well, the thing is with Super Rugby Fantasy, it doesn't work like NBA. So there's no draft. Oh. You get a currency, like you get a budget. Yeah. And each player is worth up to 10 mil.
Oh, okay.
So you get 11 million.
Right.
And you just kind of build a team like that. So the teams can be quite similar, but like most of the big players get snapped up and then it becomes like who can pick the best like dark horses, basically. Yeah. So players that are worth the least amount of money that are going to score you the most points. So sort of like in the Crusaders game, the backup scrum half who came on, he scored 3 tries.
3?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And he was worth only 3.5 million, and only 0.1% of people had him selected. So
crazy.
It's just like if you have him in your team for 3.5 mil, you would have made an absolute fortune and scored a lot of points. So It kind of works like that. And you chop and change your team every week. So you can pick whoever you want. Sort of works like the NRL fantasy if you've ever played that.
You'll be getting picked up a lot more than 0.1%, I'd imagine, then going forwards.
Yeah, it might have been a fluky game, but...
Probably, but still. Crusaders
got a win, drew a tough loss to the Brumbies in Suva.
Yep.
Moana only went down to the Force very...
Dying seconds. Overtime, 84 minutes. Force got through with a crazy try.
A good first round though, because I mean Super Rugby's sort of been a little bit on the downhill in the last previous years.
It has.
A good first round, very exciting, very entertaining. So hopefully it carries on. But anything else that's caught your eye?
Black Caps, I think have played Finn. What's happened there?
Yeah, they got the win in the Tri-Nations tournament against Pakistan and South Africa over in Pakistan. Their warm-up tournament for the Champions Trophy, which I believe kicks off this week, which is essentially like a mini World Cup between 8 teams. Playing one-day internationals over in Pakistan and the United Arab Emirates. So I reckon the Black Caps might be a bit of a dark horse to take that out because they've been in pretty good form. So fingers crossed they do all right. I mean, I'm a big fan. I'll be watching it for sure.
I wish I could say I was interested as well, but go the Black Caps.
Go the Black Caps. Go the Black Caps. Obviously, A-League action continues. I couldn't tell you who won. I'm pretty sure Auckland FC.
Auckland got a 2-0 win, I think.
Yeah, I think they got a 2-0 win over Western United.
Yeah,
I don't know what the Phoenix score was. So, I apologise. Not the biggest football fan, but...
Auckland still top? I'd imagine they are.
Yes, they are. Yeah. Which is crazy. Inaugural season. I think the derby's coming up soon.
Ooh, in Auckland?
Yep.
Is that us?
It might be us.
If you guys want to come get some like signatures or anything.
Oh my god. We will be there.
We'll be there.
We will be there. And you know what's crazy? Cell's NBL is actually coming up pretty soon as well.
Oh,
Now
we're going to be breaking that down for you guys. So
Absolutely.
Stay tuned for that.
Now that the NBL playoffs is in full swing, I think it might be another month or so, and the Cell's NBL will be right underway. And obviously, Tuatara, our local team, Dylan Wilkie, who was on a few weeks ago, plays for them. So we'll probably be going down to most of those games. And definitely
Adam Singer as well.
Adam will be coming as well, but I think we're definitely going to be going to most of the Tuatara games this year. At least I will be.
I thought Adam was playing for the Tuatara.
Oh,
That's what I meant.
Adam Singer.
Yeah.
Is he just?
Yeah.
Is that breaking news?
Who knows? Stay tuned. But we have applied for media passes as the Fast Break podcast. Yeah. So if anyone in the NZNBL media is watching this, please link us up, hook us up with some media passes. And we'll do a good job covering the NZNBL for you. I think you'll get a couple million more viewers.
I agree.
So
I mean, it's on ESPN, so
yeah,
in America and all that. But that's coming around very quickly, and obviously we'll be showcasing that quite a bit, being our local league. I think the one thing I love about this podcast is we can really dive deep into the grassroots basketball of New Zealand and give everyone a platform to sort of showcase what they can do. And I think the league is drastically underrated.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the Nelson Giants just signed a former Los Angeles Clippers player.
I mean, as our previous guests, Dylan and Josh, have mentioned, it's not far behind like the NBL 1 in Australia. It's almost borderline the second best league in this part of the world that you're going to be able to see. So with no NBL action on, as a New Zealander, this is the league to watch. And obviously, we're going to be trying our best to get some more guests on each week. Hopefully some local guys on these teams.
Yeah.
So if there's a player or someone that you want to see on the podcast with us, maybe hit them up, let them know, or tag them in one of our videos.
Yeah.
And we'll make our best effort to try get them on.
Yeah, and we'll hopefully try and get some players on from teams that are playing the Tuatara that are up here. Maybe we can get them on their off day.
Yeah.
Who knows? But we're going to obviously be jumping right into that. And of course, that'll be after the NBL playoffs is done. And speaking of, it's into the nitty and gritty now. The Final Four has almost been decided. So the Perth Wildcats beat Southeast Melbourne in the first playing game. A pretty, I'd say, dominant win from Perth. A lot of players stepped up.
Yeah, Keanu Pinder was the highlight in this one. I mean, obviously, Bryce Cotton's usually their go-to guy, but Keanu was like, it's my turn tonight. 35 points, 11 rebounds, Finn. Crazy night. And then Doolittle also added 20 points and 11 boards as well. So a couple double-doubles there. They're obviously cleaning up the glass, and Bryce Cotton still did his thing with 27 points.
Crazy.
Dominant win for Perth, and they face Melbourne
in the 3-game series, which starts, I believe, next week. And honestly, I think this is going to be a really good semi-final series. I mean, Perth are in red-hot form. Yeah. Melbourne, one of the best teams in the league. I think this is where the NBL really starts to showcase why it's one of the best leagues in the world.
Yeah. Quick predictions for that matchup?
Ooh.
2 games, 3 games? Who's your winner?
So it's going 3 games for sure. It's going to go 3 games. I think I'm going to have to tip Perth, though.
So you're going...
Perth in 3.
Perth in 3. So the first one will be in Melbourne, then Perth, and then Melbourne. Yeah, because they were the highest seed.
Yeah, they were the second seed.
Yeah,
so I think Perth are going to win, because I think Bryce Cotton is going to have an absolute crazy series. Obviously, coming off the back of... It's probably one of his best seasons in the Perth uniform. I think he averaged near 28 points a game in the regular season. So I think he's going to be absolutely insane.
I'm going to have to agree with you. I think Perth get the job done. But I think they're going to do it in 2.
Damn.
I think they're going to sweep Melbourne. I think they're going to go out and have a crazy good performance in Melbourne. And then in the second game in Perth, Bryce is going to be like, I ain't flying back halfway across all the way to the other side of the country to play them again. Yeah. And I think he'll close it out at home in Perth. That's my prediction.
It's going to be close, though. I mean, Melbourne had the likes of Chris Golding, who's been on a pretty good run this year as well, being an older guy. And the rest of the team is stacked. Daly, Jack White, of course.
Shea Ely,
Ian Clark, Shea
Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, and we'll get into those awards very quickly. The Gazies were obviously last week, too.
Yeah.
And then in the other playing game, the 5 and 6 seeds, Sydney and Adelaide. Man, this was a very good game. I stayed up late and watched it. Man, back and forth. Yeah. Obviously, no Xavier Cooks. We'll get into that very shortly as well. A lot of discussion around that.
Crazy.
Kendrick Davis, Montrezl Harrell, DJ Vasiljevic.
Big 3.
Big 3.
Get the job
essentially done. The biggest 3, in my opinion, in the NBL. Yeah. Really showcased on a big stage there. And in that fourth quarter, just were too good for the Kings. Got away from them, and they got the win in the end. And man, the one thing I loved about that game, Cam Oliver and Montrezl Harrell were just going back and forth. talking crazy all game. I loved it. I loved it so much. It was such a good game. So Adelaide right now, actually, as we're live on the podcast, it'll be done by the time this goes up, of course, are currently playing South East Melbourne.
They were up 37-22, I think, when I last checked.
I'll get a live score update. Obviously, this will be all done, but just a live reaction of what's going on right now. If we have a look here.
But in that...
Oh my god.
What is it?
It's halftime, currently. Adelaide 45-26.
Okay. I think it's safe to say that we'll be seeing more of Montrezl Harrell and Kendrick Davis.
I don't know.
Come at me if the South East Melbourne eventually manage to pull this one off, but...
What they're doing right now is insane. They're in Melbourne too, which is just crazy to me. So if they can get the job done, then they'll be facing Illawarra in their 3-game series. And honestly, I think it's going to be pretty hard for any team in the league to beat Illawarra.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, Montrez, I think he had 18, Kendrick 24, and I think DJ had 25 in that game against... who was it? The Kings.
The Sydney
so,
Kings.
I mean, the big three, that's all they really have to rely on if you really boil down to it. Because, I mean, the fourth highest scoring player on their team had 9 points, which is pretty poor compared to the other big three. So, I mean, they need someone else to step up, I think, coming off the bench if they're going to have a shot to beat Illawarra. But my early prediction for that one would be... Not that Adelaide are through yet, but I'm going to confidently say that they're going to get the job done against the South East Melbourne Phoenix. And I'm going to predict now Illawarra Hawks beat Adelaide in 3 in that one for me. That's my prediction for Illawarra Adelaide.
Yeah.
How about you, Finn?
Yeah, I think Illawarra get the job done. But it honestly, like you said, it comes down to how that big three goes. Justin Tatum, best coach in the league. Illawarra have Trey Kell, Tyler Harvey, Sam Froling. It's going to be a pretty hard team to beat. So we'll see how that one goes. And before the Play-In tournament actually started, they had the Andrew Gaze Awards, the Gazies, which is the NBL awards for the year. And we'll just run through them very quickly. 2 Kiwis actually came away with awards tonight, very, very happy.
Let's go.
Tyrell Harrison, Most Improved Player of the Year, which I think is incredibly well-deserved.
Well-deserved, 100%. He's had a phenomenal year. And Shea Illy, like we just mentioned before, Depoy.
Which I think is, again, did he get it last year? I think he might have gone back-to-back.
2-peat? Make it a 3-peat next year.
Maybe back-to-back. Shea Illy he is clamps. Yeah. And he's on a very good team as well in Melbourne, which is a very good defensive team as well. But, man, Shea Illy, I'm not surprised at all. I think he's just been... when they play Perth, put Shea Illy on him.
Yeah.
Put him on Bryce Cotton.
Bryce Cotton is going to be absolute cinema.
Oh, so good. And the thing is, if Shea locks him up, it's going to give other people an opportunity on Perth, like Doolittle, of course, Keanu Pinder as well. Maybe Ben Henshaw has a really good series, but knowing Shea Illy, Dylan Windler, who's had a quiet year, now that Shea Illy's going to be on their best player, I think it's going to be a bit of a different series than we think.
And I mean, obviously, Bryce Cotton, the MVP. So the best offensive player in the league versus the best defensive player in the league.
Crazy.
We'll see whose game comes out on top in that one. Yeah. But it's going to come down to the other guys, I think. So maybe... Man, the more I think about it now, that Shea Illy's the depoy and he's going to be guarding Bryce Cotton, Melbourne might actually get on top on that one. But I'll stick with Perth. It's going
to be hard.
It'll be tough.
And speaking of Bryce Cotton, like Will just said, MVP of the league once again.
5th time.
His 5th MVP, and I think, fact check me on this, might be 8 or 9 seasons.
I think this was his 8th.
8th season? Yeah. So he's getting an MVP more than every second year.
It's crazy.
Which is insane.
When does he go down as the GOAT?
Very soon. If Perth win a chip this year, I think Bryce Cotton will go down as the GOAT of the NBL, especially in the modern era, if he isn't already.
I think he already is the GOAT of the modern era.
Yeah, it's just the only thing it comes down to is Andrew Gaze, who had a generational run, averaging like 30 plus for multiple seasons when they played 48 minutes in the league.
Insane.
But I think with Bryce Cotton and what he did this year in particular with his 5th MVP, it was his highest points per game year at almost 28 points a game, which is honestly insane in 10-minute quarters. You look in the NBA nowadays, the NBA, which in my opinion, like obviously the best league in the world, they have 48-minute games. There isn't a lot of players averaging more than 30 points this year.
No, I think there's only 2. Shea and Giannis. Jokic just dropped below 30 now.
Yeah, so is LaMelo.
And if you look at per 36 minutes, if you were to take Bryce Cotton's 28 and make them per 36, I think it'd be higher than anyone in the NBA.
It's insane. It's insane what he's doing over here. And look, this could be his last year. You never know. I think Bryce Cotton's price as a player might be getting too much for what Perth can afford.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think he's going to make the NBA just purely based on the height restrictions, which is unfortunate, but it's just a fact. And I think he's made like a home in Australia now with his family. I think he's here to stay, Finn. I think he's going to close out, or if he does leave, he's at least going to come back and close out his career as a Perth Wildcat.
I believe so. The only place I could really see Bryce going would be somewhere, maybe in Europe, China, Japan. They pay millions for players.
Yep.
And I think Bryce at the moment is earning around, maybe just under, in Perth. And I'm pretty sure with the salary cap, they're not going to be able to afford to keep paying him more because people would have thought he would have started regressing by now. But he just honestly continues to get better every single season, which doesn't really make much sense. It's supposed to be the opposite. Reminds me of LeBron.
He's like the mini version of Damian Lillard in terms of like longevity and just the domination that he has in the game.
Took 15 minutes. 15 minutes on the episode. 15 minutes.
But
rest of the awards. Justin Tatum, Coach of the Year. Well deserved?
Yeah, 100%. I think it was between him and Josh
King.
Josh King from
Southeast Melbourne.
Southeast Melbourne.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah. Despite what Josh King was able to do with that franchise and turn their season around, I think you can't hinder the fact that Justin Tatum led the Illawarra Hawks to the first seed after they were like the same scenario as the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix last year. I think maybe Josh King, if he goes and does this next year with the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, then he can have his turn at a Coach of the Year award. But this one, I think Justin Tatum, well deserved.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. I mean, it's kind of hard not to give Coach of the Year for the coach on the best team in the league. Yeah. Tends to happen quite often.
I mean, in NBL for sure, because there's only 12 teams. And in the NBA, it's a little bit
10
different.
10 teams in the NBL.
10, I thought it was 12.
10.
Yeah, my maths is off. But I mean, NBA, there's 30 teams, so it's not usually... I mean, most of the time it is team with the best record, but they sometimes find other ways to give that one out, I think.
Yeah.
NBL.
Like a team in the NBA that was really bad the previous year and then became very good the year after. Definitely happens, but... I think,
who's the front runner at the moment? Probably
I couldn't even tell you.
I don't know. I forgot who OKC's
I don't even know his name. Is that bad?
I'd imagine he's got to be the front runner.
Ah, probably. All the Cavs coach.
All the Cavs, yeah. Tough.
It's going to be very tough.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Next Gen Player of the Year, which is sort of like, it's not really Rookie of the Year, but it's like best young player, I think, under the age of 21 or 22, around there, maybe even older. Alex Tui, who continues to rise in the draft stocks. He's been very good. Obviously, Sydney did get hit out in the play-in tournament, and honestly, a very quiet game for Tui, unfortunately, but he's done some things this year which were pretty remarkable. He's had some massive games. His draft stock has gone up exponentially. I think he's going to be a first-round pick in the draft this year.
20s range, I think. Yeah. I think Kareem Lopez was also a shout for that award, but
he was.
Definitely Tui's the most deserving player of that, helping his team into the playoffs, an integral piece of that Sydney Kings team. And I thought you'd have a big game with Xavier Cooks out, which we'll get into, but he didn't step up too big, and obviously Adelaide knocked them out, but you can't expect too much of a young player like him.
Nah.
And he's obviously gone now off to the NBA. Hopefully he does well, so good luck to he.
Yeah.
But should we speak about the Xavier Cooks?
Mate,
this whole thing, Finn. What's been going on? This is crazy.
He's been done for an anti-doping...
Yeah.
I don't know all the logistics.
Essentially he's taken drugs, is what they're saying.
Yeah, they've found reason to believe that he has taken PEDs throughout this year.
Yeah.
And it's really funny because Xavier Cooks, although, he was all NBL second team, he has had a very up and down year. Could this be... this could be crazy to say. If he's been taking PEDs all year and he's been inconsistent, could we say that when he's playing well, he's on a cycle, and when he's not, he could be off his cycle? I'm not too sure. It could be crazy to say, but
Nah, that's a good point you make, Finn. I mean, he was one of the last people I'd expect to come out and do this. Like, arguably the best Australian player in the NBL. Like a role model for all young Australians and Kiwis and any fan of the NBL coming up. And for him to do this, I mean, obviously it's still in the phase of he's been accused of it, I think.
Yeah.
We can't say with certainty that this is the truth. It could be one of those scenarios where he rubbed the wrong skincare into his skin, which happened to have some drug in it, which had got into his blood system. I mean, I know that's happened before with
in tennis, didn't
UFC fighters. And
Yannick Sinner. Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll wait to hear the full story, but if this comes out, worst case scenario, then I don't know what happens from here on out, Finn. He's not going to be... I don't know. He's not going to be viewed the same as he has in previous seasons by fans.
Nah, I completely agree with you. And it's funny, he only got a 1-game suspension. However, I had a theory that the only reason they gave him 1 game was because they only potentially had 1 game left.
Yeah.
And they lost.
But then if they won, would they...
I think they would have reevaluated it. Yeah, I think so. And you know what's funny? Does this mean his little stint in the NBA was... Do we cancel it?
On his cycle.
Do we cancel it? I mean, he had a season on the Wizards and obviously got waived in the end because he didn't really fit the mold of the NBA, in my opinion. But
definitely not.
Yeah, very interesting news. And like you said, the last person I would have expected to be on this. And once more news does come out, I mean, next week, I think we'll probably find out. The week after, we'll be sharing our opinions on it even more. So very interesting. Completely surprised that it happened. I just think if you're an athlete, why do you need to take PEDs? I just don't. I've never really understood it. You're a pro athlete. You work your ass off. You're already like making millions. Well,
one of the best players in the NBL already.
Yeah, well, I mean, all NBL second team this year. Like it's not an easy thing to do. He's a top 10 player in the league.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get any more money. You're already a max player.
Yeah,
you're not going to make it back to the NBA probably. I mean, you've had your stint with the Wizards, and unfortunately that didn't work out. And you're just getting older. NBA guys are after those youngsters, the Alex Tuis, the draft players. I mean, Xavier Cooks are just settled with the fact that round out your career in the NBL, that's a phenomenal achievement to be able to say that you did. You played your whole career in the NBL as a professional basketball player, making more than the average person. I mean...
And had a stint in the NBA.
Yeah,
which would have...
Exactly.
That money would have been nice for 1 year too. Would have set him up pretty well.
It's crazy.
So, unfortunate. Yeah. But, yeah, we'll keep you guys posted on how that unfolds in the next couple weeks or so. But it doesn't really matter. Sydney did get knocked out by Adelaide, of course. So, at the end of the day, doesn't really matter. But, yeah, not... News I didn't expect this week for sure. But
did he get a fine? Or is it,
I don't know.
Would that
I
be
don't think
finalised
so.
once they fully?
Yeah, I guess.
I haven't seen a full story about the whole situation yet. I mean,
well, like RNZ posted a bit about it, and I went into it, but it was pretty surface level. It's more of like an accusation. So I guess it'll unfold, and we'll
hopefully
kind of
we're proven wrong, and he didn't do anything out of the ordinary. He's back on the court next season. Yeah. No fines, but
I mean, I want to see him play.
Yeah, 100%.
Like that could be his career not done, but if
he
gets
definitely his legacy tarnished.
Yeah, like how long does he serve if he actually gets?
I mean,
yeah, like it's not a Is it a season or how does it work?
Could it be a life ban? If it's depending on how serious it is, like if they've found that he'd been using PEDs all season long or something, intentionally. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to a life ban for someone doing that sort of thing. Personally,
that is crazy.
I mean...
Didn't John Jones do PEDs?
Yeah, that's why I don't like the guy. And he's not my goat. Yeah.
Wow.
And he just clicked... What? Why did you think I don't like him?
I can name a few other reasons.
What, he beats his wife up?
Oh. that might have been it.
Yeah. I mean, I just have no sympathy whatsoever for cheaters, personally, in any sport. So, if it was something that he unintentionally did... I'll hold my hands up. Sorry, Xavier Cooks. We've even discussed this whole situation. But if it's worst case scenario, I wouldn't want to see him in an NBL jersey again.
Damn, that's hard hitting.
It's harsh, but that's just me.
It's kind of how it rolls, eh?
What would you do? You'd still want to see him back out there?
I think he's one of the most entertaining players in the league. Stupidly athletic. Has been on Sydney for a long time. It would suck not seeing him play. It wouldn't be nice. 100%. I mean, he's one of the best Australian players to touch the court in terms of the NBL. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like...
You also got to make an example of someone, I feel. And, his level and how high up he is of a player, one of the best, 3 players in the NBL, feels like he'd be a good person to make an example of, to not do this again. But...
Yeah, it's a good point, actually.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Who knows?
We'll see how it rolls out. The Breakers are all done. If you didn't, obviously. But we haven't really spoken about it too much. Now that the season is all wrapped for the Breakers, thoughts, opinions on the whole year? I think we can really dive into this for a while.
Crazy mix of runs. I mean, we had that run where we were the best team in the NBL coming away from the American tour, and I thought, we're definitely going to be contenders this season with PJC, Matt Mooney. And then we just go on that crazy slide, which I did not see coming.
It didn't stop till the end of the year.
Consistent loss. PJC gets injured.
Suspended as well.
Suspended. Matt Mooney's argument with Petteri Koponen. I think just the whole team chemistry just fell apart. I don't think it was a talent issue. I think on paper,
we had a good team.
We had a good team. And then obviously the Taco situation, that whole scenario, I think that mentally probably got into some players' heads as well. Like, man, they just shipped off our good mate Freddie Gillespie just to make a spot for Taco Fall, who in all fairness is not the greatest NBL player. I don't think he fits the NBL game. Obviously, we've seen how much of a liability he was on defense. I mean, it's been a rough season, but still, there's definitely positives to take away. I mean, Kareem Lopez, he's looked better and better as the season's gone on, and we got him for another whole year. So I think that's the brighter spot for me going into next season. But what are your thoughts, bro?
Well, I went into the whole season, if we circle all the way back to episode 1 of the podcast, I had set my expectations so incredibly low. I said, my expectations for the Breakers this year are low. And you were confused. You looked at me like I was an absolute freak. Like, what are you doing? And the whole reason my expectations were so low, new coach, new roster, a few returning players at most.
Yeah.
If you had told me we would have been the number 1 seed in the NBL heading into the FIBA break, I would have called you a liar. I would have said you're smoking crack. I wouldn't have believed you at all. But yeah, my expectations were low. And after a few rocky games to start the year, we went on a crazy run. Genuinely looked like the best team in the league. Parker Jackson Cartwright looked like the best player in the NBL, which was insane at the time. Obviously, we had no idea the run that Bryce Cotton was going to go on for the rest of the year because he was out injured. But
I mean, PJC was number 1 on the MVP ladder
for a number of weeks too. Yeah. For a number of weeks on that run that we had, everything looked like it was clicking. I mean, obviously, Freddie came in, didn't really exceed my expectations at all to start the year. But by the time we hit that FIBA break, I was very impressed with the way that he slotted into our team. And then, like you said, we hit a slide after the FIBA break where Freddie went to Italy, Taco came in, and we hit a slide that was unrecoverable. Yeah. We were clutching at straws all year saying, there's still a chance to make the 6. Let's go on a run here. Let's get one win, and then we can string some more together and sneak into the 6 and maybe make the finals.
Even that last game you and I went to, I mean, we were sitting there like, come on, boys, just win this game and we still have a chance.
Yeah, and like I said, my expectations were low because I wanted them to be met, and realistically, my expectations weren't met at all. They were low, but they weren't that low. Finishing 9th in the NBL is not something you should be talking about. It's not something.
Ken's almost catched us too.
Ken's got very close. I think there were 1 or 2 games within.
They had 8 wins. We had 10. So I mean,
and Ken's were woeful all year.
Yep.
It is crazy. Completely unexpected. I think it was a roller coaster of emotions. There were so many highs to start the year, and then just so many lows. Yeah. So many lows. From, like you said, the release of Freddie, the signing of Taco, to PJC's 5-game suspension. The injuries we had with Mo King, Max Starling, Mitch McCarron, and everything that could have possibly gone wrong in the NBL season for the Breakers essentially happened. And unfortunately, there's nothing else to really talk about. The fact that potentially the front office needs to look in the mirror and sort themselves out for next year.
Let's have a quick look into next year, shall we? Petteri, I want Petteri back.
I'd love him back. I think 100%. He's a great coach.
Yeah. And I don't know how that's going to work with Matt Mooney after their little scuffle.
Well, Matt Mooney hasn't re-signed.
He hasn't. He did say he was keen to play another season for the Breakers, but I mean, that was before his argument with Petteri. Hopefully they've hashed that whole situation out. Because I would like to see, I don't know, if PJC doesn't come back, which I don't think he will.
It's not looking likely, is it?
I would like Matt Mooney to come back, because we've seen what Matt Mooney could do when PJC was off the court.
Yeah, he was very good.
Exactly. So I think if PJC's gone, try your best to bring back Mooney. If PJC comes back, which is unlikely, maybe don't bring back Mooney. I think I only want one of them back.
Yeah, I feel like they didn't really work together.
No.
At times they did, but I'd say majority of the time with the two of them playing at the same time, we didn't look very cohesive. Even on that really good run and stretch of games we had before the FIBA break, I mean, PJC was the best player in the league. Matt Mooney, in my opinion, didn't bring a lot to the team. I think our supporting cast, especially Sam Meninga, was very good.
Does Sam come back?
Good. I think he signed a 2-year deal.
Was it a 2-year deal?
Pretty sure he's back next season.
It was I see he signed with a team in Europe.
Yeah, so he'll be there for the off season.
I wasn't sure if he was coming back for next season.
Pretty
but
sure.
if he signed a 2-year, then that's good.
You have to fact check
Sam
me, but I think Sam will be back. I think he quite likes playing at home.
Yeah,
I mean, he got an early release from his Ken's contract to come play for us this year, so it makes sense. And I think he is Breakers culture, in my opinion.
Yeah,
a Kiwi guy
we need
grew
Kiwis.
up a Kiwi that grew up on the North Shore, which is where the Breakers are essentially based.
Yeah,
has had quite a bit of experience playing in college for Davidson in Europe, and he just is a big hustle guy and wants to get better and is very passionate about the sport, which I think is something that we might be lacking, especially the Kiwi core. And Matt Walsh came out maybe a couple weeks ago. First of all, said they offered PJC the biggest contract in Breakers history to try bring him back for next year, and that they want to try and build a Kiwi core for next year. And apparently they want to see where Finn Delaney is at. Obviously, he's had some very good years in the Breakers, and man, if we could sign somebody as well. I know Flynn Cameron, potentially, from Melbourne United, is off contract. He's another...
Dash Daniels going in there as well. So.
Yeah, so Flynn Cameron off contract with Melbourne.
Big possibility.
A Naki boy through and through. He could make his way up to Auckland, I think.
We've got Carlin Davidson coming through the ranks as well.
Who's
maybe.
impressed me in the back end of this year as well. He's only going to get better. He's very young.
So athletic.
So, look, next season, I mean, it's way too early. I mean, the season's not even done yet. But there is a few positives. Obviously, Kareem will be coming back before he heads off to the NBA the following year. And realistically, I think next year he could be one of our best players.
Yeah, I know you said that in previous weeks. You think he could be that number one guy next season, which I'd love to see.
It's possible.
I still think it's going to be Sam. That's my take on who our go-to guy is going to be. Because I think there was a period of time where he was consistently our second best player to PJC. He obviously was a bit inconsistent at times. But I think he's gone to Europe to play in Europe. He'll pick up some more moves over there, hopefully. More reps of basketball itself in Europe. I think he's going to come back, and I think he's going to be dominant for the Breakers. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I see it. I see it as well. I mean, he had some phenomenal games this year, like near 30 pieces. Shoots the ball really well for a big dude as well, which is something that's very valuable.
We've obviously got Taco as well, though. So
Taco does come
how
back.
That works.
I think Pateri's going to have a whole off season to figure out how they can insert Taco into this lineup again. There was times where I thought it worked really well this year.
There was that game where he had like 6 straight baskets just in the paint. Dunk.
Like there has been times this year where I've thought, oh wow, this is actually really working with Taco.
Yeah.
But as soon as the league figures out how to guard him, we're going to be in trouble. So I think we need to potentially sign another center. I think we need Taco, Sam, and somebody else.
Yeah, Sam can play the 4, I think. I've always been saying that. I think start Sam. Start another centre who we sign. I want to use one of our import spots on a good centre, like Freddie Gillespie.
Wow.
Or someone else, who knows, and then bring Taco off the bench. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see Taco getting more than like 20 minutes a game, ever.
Which is a waste of an import spot, sadly. But
yeah, he's there.
It's kind of what happened. Yeah.
I don't think Matt Mooney and PJC both come back. Maybe one come back if we're lucky. So we'll still have that empty roster spot. And we've got the wings. I feel we've got Mo King, Kareem Lopez, Max Darling. I think we need either a guard or a big.
I think they're all returning. I know Kareem is. Not sure about Max or Mo, but
I'd imagine they'd stay.
I hope so.
Max done well in a Breakers jersey this year.
Max,
yeah, very well.
He's one of the players that has impressed me the most this year.
He should have been up there for MIP.
He signed the 13th roster spot before the season started, and I thought, oh yeah, we'll give him a chance. Like, he's been a DP for a few years. He's been really good on Canterbury for the last couple of years. And then when I saw Pateri starting him, I mean, we talked about this. Why was Max Darling starting?
Yeah.
Hey, he's
proved us wrong.
Mate, he's a big 3.
Yeah.
Shoots the ball pretty well from the corner and is a good defender. I think it's everything that we needed, and I had no idea.
Yeah.
And we missed him a lot when he got hurt.
100%. He was like that glue guy almost.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, he was a DP that came up, so it'll be interesting to see if there's any other development players from this season that make that step up going into next year.
Maybe Carlin.
Potential ones. Carlin. They've got Alex McNaught. We might be short on guard depth.
Kaya Isaac as well.
Kaya Isaac.
Those are the 3.
And then even players like going further down, like Liam Judd. Who knows?
You never know.
Speaking
of, he's currently in India playing in an Indian basketball league, which is really crazy.
Adam told me about that.
Yeah. Very interesting. But
good.
Next season, going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I want to see some consistency in the team. I think that's something we've lacked in the last couple of years is we've had inconsistency in our roster quite a bit. If we bring back some players that already have chemistry with one another, I think we could be within a real shot. Because like you said, I don't think we lacked talent this year. No. I think we just lacked cohesion and just
chemistry, knowing each other.
Exactly. I think we didn't know our personnel very well, like our own team. No. Yeah, so it's a bit unfortunate. I mean, even like someone like Grant Anticevich, I feel like really didn't get a shot this year to prove that he could be a capable player. He's probably the best shooter on our team.
Lights out shooter, bro.
So it was
that
a bit
jump
unfortunate.
shot smooth.
Very smooth. I mean, we've talked about it all year.
He could have won the NBA 3-point contest today, to be honest. How abysmal was that?
Oh, I mean, speaking of, what happened to Dame,
Let's talk
bro?
about it. Oh, mate.
What happened to Dame?
Damian Lillard going for the three-peat. Would have been the first one in NBA history for the 3-point contest. Obviously, he won it with the Bucks last year. The Blazers the season before that. And he couldn't even get to the final, Finn. Broke my heart watching it. I was sitting there watching it. That last rack, he needed to make one more money ball and he would have been through. And I just see it clank off the rim and I'm like, my heart just fell. And that's that. That's the end of the 3-point contest. Who cares about who won it?
To be fair, I can't say much. Norman Powell had 14.
Yeah.
That was also his first 3-point contest, though. So, I mean...
He ain't at that level, bro.
Okay. Shoots like 42% from 3 this year.
He's an in-game shooter.
I'd rather be that than a 3-point shooter in the All-Star
Or you could be both, like Dame.
Yeah.
He's had a rough night, but...
I mean...
Tyler Herro
won. Are you
won.
surprised that Tyler Herro did win?
I'm very surprised that Tyler Herro won. He was probably like my 4th or 5th pick. I thought Dame, I think if it wasn't Dame, my pick was Buddy Hield.
He was
had
close.
A crazy first round.
31 points.
31 points, tied the record with Steph. Tyler Herro, dark horse, I didn't see him. I thought Cam Johnson was going to do better, to be honest.
Yeah, he had 14 as well.
He seems like that perfect catch-and-shoot guy in the NBA. Bit of a poor showing. But, I mean, there were heaps of people that were in the teens. It was quite a weak 3-point contest, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, no Steph Curry. Personally, he's the best 3-point contest shooter of all time.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't think you can argue that. I don't think you can argue that.
Dame's got 2, though.
Does Curry only have 1?
I think so.
There's no way.
He doesn't play in it enough, though, I don't think.
He should play in it more.
He's retired from the 3-point contest. He just does the side ones with the WNBA players now.
Oh my god, like with Sabrina. I heard they were trying to get Caitlin Clark in this year.
Yeah,
and
she was the one that said no. Why? Who knows?
Don't know.
Maybe they should do it for WNBA All-Star Weekend. They should have Steph go to that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on the dunk contest today, though?
Oh my god, bro. It was... Thank God for Mac McClung.
Oh my god.
That was looking like it was going to be... Before he came and did his first dunk, that was looking like the worst dunk contest in NBA history. Andre Jackson did a bloody 2-hand, tiny little windmill dunk. That was his dunk. Bozelis couldn't even get one down. Castle was impressive. I do like Stephon Castle. He did well. And then Mac McClung's just like, hold up, guys. Let me bring out a Kia. And just jumps.
Blake
his friend's
Griffin
holding the ball between the sunroof like this. Mac just clears him.
Clears the car.
Clears the car.
Reverses it.
Yeah. He could have had the guy standing through the sunroof and he probably still would have cleared him.
That was a better dunk than the Blake Griffin one for sure.
100%.
Look, the NBA dunk contest, I'd say before Mac McClung came in, 3 years ago, just three-peated, first time ever. Before he came in, which was the first one would have been 2022, before then, the dunk contest had lost its credibility like crazy. Since maybe 2017.
2016 was Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon.
The 2016 dunk contest is still probably the best one I've ever seen of all time.
Yeah, because there were 2 guys going at it. They needed someone else to go against Mac.
They had to do more dunks as well because they couldn't get a winner.
Yeah, true.
But
they've changed the voting in this year's one as well. I noticed with just an average.
Do you know why they did that?
Because there were too many 10s and they were like having so many.
That happened as well. But also a few years ago, I think it was Aaron Gordon versus Derrick Jones Jr.
Yeah,
and Aaron Gordon dunked over Taco Fall.
Oh, yeah.
And
D Wade.
Bro. And this is when Derrick Jones Jr. was on the Miami Heat.
Yeah.
So D Wade purposely put his score down. God. They all talked like, we'll do this. So they played the sudden death.
Yeah.
And D Wade put his down by 1 and he just walked off the screen. Bro. He knew exactly what he did. I think that's why they did it. But like I said, ever since 16, 17, and that must have been 2018.
That was a good one.
That was a good one too. But since then, the dunk contest for that 4-year stretch, even when like Anthony Simons won it and stuff, it was really underwhelming. Like, I was finding the 3-point contest far more entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
So for Mac McClung, for the 3rd year in a row, to quite honestly put on, in my opinion, 3 years in a row, he's just gotten better. The best dunk contest dunks I've ever seen in the NBA.
They were all 50s. He didn't, and I want to go back and I'll look after this, but his previous 2 years that he's won as well. Did he get all 50s in those? Has
Highly
he ever
likely.
got less than a 50 in the dunk contest?
I don't know. He's insane. I think bringing out the Kia,
Yeah,
I knew something crazy was going to happen. And I was like, oh, is he going to like get a lob and jump over the hood like Blake Griffin did? He cleared the entire car and his boy reversed it. And oh my God.
And then he had the double dunk as well.
He
had the last one where he tapped it off the rim.
And he jumped over Mobley, who was on a platform.
On a platform.
Mate.
Just bring out Wemby at that point. We were all sitting there why is Wemby not coming out?
You know what? I think they've probably asked Wemby to do it, but I reckon Wemby said no.
My theory was that Wemby would have been keen, but the NBA stepped in and they were like, we are not risking you, my little Pookie Bear.
Yeah.
You're the future of our league. If Mac McClung breaks your neck on a dunk,
yeah, that's a good point.
That was my theory.
That's a good point.
But yeah, to get Mobley to stand on a platform, at that point, just bring out Wemby. I mean, we've already seen people jump over Taco, who's like the same height as Wemby.
An inch taller, to be fair.
Inch taller, yeah.
But no, he saved it. And Stephon Castle,
He did
I thought he did really well. His dunk to... his last one where he made the layup and then did
the back.
Oh, and that was crazy. He
tough.
spun the opposite way. He put it behind his back and cradled it. And then the one before that, where the guy scored the layup and he did an East Bay.
Yeah.
That is, I think, non-basketball fans will look at that and think, "Oh, nah, Mac McClung is so much better," which is fair enough. But I think for basketball fans and like true basketball fans and players know the severe difficulty of what Stephon Castle was doing. It's actually insane what he was doing.
I think he could have won it in like any other year if he wasn't going against Mac McClung.
If Mac McClung wasn't there, Stephon Castle would have won.
Like you said before, Anthony Simons, obviously that's my guy from Portland, and he did win the dunk contest.
Yeah.
But I'll hold my hands up. That was a terrible showing. The fact that he won, all he did was like, he had the little... He tried to recreate the blowing the candle out from, who was that? Gerald Green.
Oh, that was a good dunk contest too.
And I mean, I can't believe, Anthony Simons won a dunk contest, but it was pretty poor.
Didn't he dunk it off a mini hoop as well?
Yeah, that's right.
That was alright.
It was alright.
I think there's been some creative dunks here and there. I remember Aaron Gordon dropped the ball from a drone once. That wasn't very good. Somebody tried to jump over a model aeroplane of the Wright brothers one time as well, and he kicked the plane and broke it. I think that might have been Wendell Carter Jr. actually a few years ago, but... Yeah, I'm happy the dunk contest has found its credibility again, all thanks to Mac McClung.
But I mean, even at that point, like, yes, Mac McClung is phenomenal, and personally I think he's the greatest dunk participant of all time. He's my go-to.
He's up there with Vince Carter, but three-peat is
yeah.
insane.
But like, at the end of the day, it's just him. He's been the only one that's really that impressive. They need someone to go toe-to-toe with him. Like, call up Aaron Gordon, call up Zach LaVine. Get Ja Morant, get these all-star guys like actually wanting to participate. Ja Morant, Zion Williamson, Shaden Sharp. I know he's not an all-star, but he would still be phenomenal. I mean,
Derrick Jones Jr. back in there as well would be crazy.
Matas Buzelis, like no disrespect, but like
it was bad.
You're not even like known for your athleticism. I was watching his highlight reels, and it was just basic two-hand dunks.
Yeah.
Why is he there?
I was surprised Andre Jackson was as bad as he was because that man is stupidly athletic.
That dunk, that putback dunk that he had.
Oh, his neck was at the rim.
Bro.
And I honestly, you know what I think it came down to? I think Mac McClung takes so much pride in his dunk contests that he practices so much. I reckon
he's not an NBA player.
I reckon after his G League trainings and stuff, he's just like, I'm just going to mess around and do like an hour's worth of dunk contest dunks. I reckon Andre Jackson did no prep.
No.
Martas might have done like a few practices. I reckon Stephon Castle might have been in the lab a little bit. But I know for a fact Mac McClung is for like a month or two straight in the lab thinking of what he can do. Like he brought out a Kia.
I mean that's like his priority. Make sure I win the dunk contest because that's the biggest stage for him to get to.
And
he's not an NBA player.
He also wins $100,000 too, which is more than his G League contract.
Yeah.
So it is actually beneficial for somebody like Mac McClung to go and win it.
I mean, Andre Jackson's out here trying to compete with the Bucks to win a championship. Stephon Castle's and Matas
Playing with
Buzelis, they're playing for Rookie of the Year. They've got other things on their mind. They're making millions on their rookie contracts.
McClung
They don't have as much to play for.
I mean, McClung's one of the best players in the G, though. Don't get it twisted. He's
sure.
very, very good in the G. Yeah. Unfortunately, I just don't think he'll ever get a shot in the NBA because he's only like 6'1". He's very short, but he's a great player nonetheless. Like, if you actually go watch his G highlights, he's good.
That's the cheat code to win the dunk contest, I think. Being a shorter person, because if you have a crazy vert, when you're shorter, you're in the air for longer.
I agree.
And I mean, that's what it comes down to, I think, in my opinion, with like creative dunks. It's how much air time you have to be able to do things like East Bays, windmills, behind the backs, all that sort of stuff. And like you said, creativity as well. No one else did anything with props in that dunk contest at all. Mac McClung had the car, then he had the ladder with the 2 balls. You need to be bringing people out. He had Mobley come out as well. It's like, come on, guys, get a bit more creative.
Also, I think being shorter makes the dunks look way more impressive.
Yeah, for sure.
Way more impressive. Yeah. But I think it was a good contest nonetheless. And we have the All-Star game tomorrow. It'll be all done by the time this goes up. But as time of recording, we record on a Sunday. Goes up on a Monday, day before. New format.
Don't like it.
Don't like it at all?
Not at all. I like the traditional East versus West. That's my go-to.
I feel like the All-Star game has lost its credibility in the last few years. We'll see how it goes. I think it's good to experiment. It'll be interesting seeing the Rising Stars team go up against the All-Stars because they'll have something to prove.
Who's your pick to win it?
The team
out of the 4 teams.
You know what's crazy? I don't actually know the teams off paper.
You got Shaq. He's got the OGs like the LeBron, KD, Steph, Dame. Chuck's like the global team with like Jokic and Cat, Shea, and then you got the young team, Kenny.
He's got like Wemby in there, man.
Yeah, Wemby and Ant and stuff.
I don't think the OGs are going to care. So it's going to be between...
That's what I thought.
It's going to be between the European dudes and the young guys. And then you never know, these Rising Stars guys might just come out. They might just come out and just absolutely destroy everyone. I mean, some good players on that team. Like Dalton Knecht, Stephon Castle's on there. I mean, Stephon Castle won the MVP of the Rising Stars Challenge, so...
I think they're going to win it, honestly. I think they're going to be like out there to actually prove something. These other All-Star guys are just going to be messing around, taking half-court shots. I think the Rising Stars team could come out there and make a statement.
I mean, it's first to 40 points. You go on a 15-0 run just to start the game, you lock in. I mean, you've essentially halfway there.
Does the winning team with the best player, is that the person who's going to win All-Star Game MVP? Because imagine a Rising Stars guy wins All-Star MVP, and they're not even an All-Star.
I would love that.
Like Stephon Castle wins All-Star Game MVP.
That's very much possible and could happen. I think it's going to be more entertaining than people think.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit more riding on this than previous years because there's younger guys in it and there's 4 teams. I feel like there's a little bit more importance, but at the same time, I'm not too sure.
Well, we'll see how it plays out. That's another episode. Stay tuned, guys. Next week's episode, we might have a guest. Who knows? Let's see.
See how we go. But thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.